Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year! Today I'm going to be breaking down the NHL DFS slate for Tuesday, January 3rd. And we got ourselves an 11-game slate here tonight where I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks, some of my favorite individual plays, and some of my favorite value plays. And then we'll wrap up the video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals, where you can see 5 of these games are coming in with an implied total of 6.5 goals, 5 games coming in at 6 goals even, and then just 1 game here between the Hurricanes and Rangers coming in at 5.5 goals. And then take a look down here at the Vegas odds, where you can see each team who's favored to win tonight. With that being said, let's dive into a couple of line stacks that I like here for tonight, starting with that first line for the Florida Panthers. We got Barkov centering Verhaeghe and Tkachuk. Now, the Florida Panthers have really struggled this year. There's no way around that. However, I was happy to see them put these 3 together to try and spark that first line. We've seen Barkov play with Verhaeghe, we've seen Barkov play with Tkachuk, but we really haven't seen these 3 play together all that much this year. So again, I was happy to see them put together in practice the other day. They have a great matchup here tonight to really get things going for Florida at home against the Arizona Coyotes, who've allowed 3.60 goals per game this year, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 73.2% rate. Both of those are the 8th worst in the NHL. We're going to see Barkov and Tkachuk play up on the number 1 power play, and Verhaeghe plays down on the 2nd, but these 3 will log big minutes together, 5-on-5. And then another line stack I like here tonight is that second line for the Ottawa Senators, and really I like the top 2 lines for Ottawa tonight in a great matchup at home against the Columbus Blue Jackets, who've allowed 3.91 goals per game this season, the 2nd most in the NHL. But this second line here is projected to come in at a little lower ownership. Pinto centering DeBrincat and Batherson. Now we're going to see Batherson and DeBrincat play up on the number 1 power play. Pinto plays down on the 2nd, but these guys do log big minutes together as well, 5-on-5. And that power play for Ottawa has been very good this year, one of the best in the NHL, scoring at a 27.7% rate. If you wanted to, you could even do a little 3-man stack with DeBrincat, Batherson, and Thomas Chabot. Definitely something I'll be considering tonight. Now, folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, 2 things. Number 1, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. And number 2, a little schedule update here. I know I mentioned this last week, but I am going to be traveling starting this Thursday through next Monday, heading to Vegas with my dad. Being that he lives in Minnesota, I live in Colorado, I only get to see my parents a handful of times a year. So one of the things my dad and I started doing was a father-son trip where we hit a new NHL rink every year, and over the course of time we're going to try and hit all 32 NHL rinks. So we're on trip number 6 here this year, again going to Vegas, but it's going to be very tough for me to create NHL content while I'm with him. So again, just wanted to give you guys a reminder, I will be out or traveling starting this Thursday through next Monday. I'll keep you guys updated in the Discord with where I'm at, and if you guys want to join that Discord, there's a link to do so in the description below. Alright, now diving into some of my favorite individual plays here, we're going to kick it off with the forwards. First guy I got there is Braden Point, who's been playing some great hockey as of late for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and honestly, I think he should be priced at $8,000 here tonight considering the matchup against the Chicago Blackhawks, who've allowed 3.75 goals per game this year, the 4th most in the NHL, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 73.2% rate. That's towards the bottom of the NHL as well, and the Tampa Bay Lightning have one of the best power plays in the NHL, scoring at a 27.6% rate. That is the 5th best in the NHL. And if we take a look here at points numbers here as of late, 10 goals, 2 assists, 12 points in his past 10, averaging around 3 shots on net per game, and he's got a great matchup to expand on those numbers here tonight, again against the Chicago Blackhawks. I then got Zach Hyman there of the Edmonton Oilers, and I know I've mentioned this in the past, but Hyman truly benefits, probably more than anybody on this Oilers team, by playing with Connor McDavid. Obviously, you got Draisaitl there as well, but he has been recently moved back down to the 2nd line. So I'm going to go with Hyman here at $6,600. Plays on that first line again with McDavid, plays up on the number 1 power play, and a good matchup here at home tonight against the Seattle Kraken, who have struggled defensively here really over the past month and have one of the league's worst penalty kills, just hitting at a 68.5% rate. That is the 2nd worst in the NHL, and Hyman's been putting up some good numbers here as of late. 8 goals, 4 assists, 12 points in his past 10 games, and you can see 6 of those 12 points have come on the power play. Next is Filip Forsberg of the Nashville Predators, who was actually the first star of the NHL last week, if I'm not mistaken. He had put up 7 points in his last 3 games, including a goal in each game, total of 5 and 2 assists. So yeah, he's playing some really good hockey here over his past 3, and has a great matchup to expand on that at home tonight against the Montreal Canadiens, who have been brutal in their past 4 games, allowing 6 goals per game, by far the most in the NHL, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 44% rate. So yeah, again, they are really struggling here lately. And let's just pull open Forsberg's numbers. This shows his last 10, but again, let's focus on those last 3 games where he's played really, really good hockey, and he's shooting the puck like he should be as well. Now, part of me wants to just get some exposure to this Washington Capitals team in general here tonight, whether it be Alex Ovechkin, Evgeny Kuznetsov, or someone like Erik Gustafsson, who you can see I got listed as a defenseman. But the Capitals have been playing some really good hockey here over their past 10 games with an 8-1-1 record, and I have no problem with the matchup at home here tonight against the Buffalo Sabres, who have played better hockey themselves over the past month, but still not a team that I'm super convinced they have great defensive play or great goaltending. And Kuzi's been putting up some good numbers here. Points in 8 of his last 10, with 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points. 4 of those points coming on the power play. He's not the most consistent when it comes to shooting the puck, but being that he plays up on that first line with Ovechkin and on the number 1 power play, some strong correlation with those two there. Or again, someone like Erik Gustafsson if we want to target that number 1 power play. And then I got a couple of forwards here that I like in the 4K range, starting with Michael Bunting of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who's not only playing up on the first line right now with Matthews and Nylander, but he was also recently promoted to that number 1 power play as well. And they got a great matchup at home here tonight against the St. Louis Blues, who have ridden a roller coaster all year long. 1 week they're on a losing stretch, next week they're on a winning stretch, but this is a team that has struggled defensively for the most part this year, and goaltending has been very shaky. They've allowed 3.62 goals per game this season, the 7th most in the NHL, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 71.6% rate, and Bunting's been taking the most of his opportunity as of late, 7 goals, 2 assists, 9 points in his past 10 games, averaging around 3.5 shots on net per game as well. And then I got Alex Iafallo there of the Los Angeles Kings. Now, 2 things here with Iafallo. Number 1, I liked him a lot better last week when he was in the 3K range, but at $4,500, I still think he's in play. And number 2, I think he's in play on the tournament side of things. I much rather prefer someone like Michael Bunting in my cash lineup. Iafallo, he's got some great upside, but I don't know if I'd put him in my cash lineup. He is playing up on the second line and number 2 power play right now and put up some good numbers here as of late, but I don't necessarily love the matchup at home tonight against Dallas, who has played solid defensively here lately and gotten some good goaltending. But Iafallo, again, at $4,500, think he's a really solid tournament play. You can see in his past 10 games, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. Would like him to shoot the puck a little bit more, but he does have multiple point upside. Now, moving over here to the defenseman, name dropped him earlier, Thomas Chabot, really stacking him up with forwards on that number 1 power play for the Senators, which has again been one of the best in the NHL this year, and that's primarily where Chabot has racked up his points. He's now got 7 goals, 13 assists, 20 points in 32 games, with 5 of those goals, 6 of those assists, 11 of those points coming on the power play. So again, that's primarily where I'm stacking him up here tonight. And that's really the same play here with Aaron Ekblad. I'm sure you guys have come to know here over time that really any defenseman that I'm paying for 4K or above, I'm trying to stack them up with forwards who play on the same power play. You get into the 2 to 3K range, it doesn't always align like that, but that's why those are value plays, right? Ekblad here, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points in 27 games this year, with 8 of those 14 points coming on the number 1 power play. So again, I'm stacking him up with guys like Barkov and Tkachuk to make that correlation there. And then I got Erik Gustafsson there of the Washington Capitals, who I name dropped earlier when I was talking about Kuznetsov. He's getting a lot of opportunity right now, especially with John Carlson on the IR, and it sounds like he's going to miss multiple months. He took a puck to the face, kind of a gross situation, but hopefully he can recover from that. Sounds like he should be back before playoffs, but a really scary situation there. Gustafsson, though, he's really taken over as that #1 defenseman on that #1 power play, logging around 20 minutes per game and putting up some massive points here as of late. Let me pull open his past 10 games here, where you can see he is currently riding a 7-game point streak, where he's racked up 6 goals, 7 assists, 13 points, averaging around 2.5 shots on net per game. Not bad at all for a guy priced here at $4,600. Now, I wasn't overly thrilled with the value plays here on this slate, but I do got a handful as honorable mentions. Put those in the notes off to the right-hand side like I always do, but I also wanted to mention here that I would pay up for Roman Josi in a good matchup at home against Montreal, Victor Hedman on the road against Chicago, great matchup there, or Noah Dobson of the New York Islanders, stacking him up with that Islanders #1 power play because the Vancouver Canucks have had the worst penalty kill in the NHL all year long. Now, there were quite a few goaltenders that I actually liked on this slate here tonight, as you can imagine, being that there are 22 to choose from. I ended up putting UC Saros and Igor Shesterkin on the spreadsheet here, but there are truly a number of different routes that I believe we can go. Saros has been awesome here in his past 8 games, and maybe his record doesn't show that, being just 3-2-3 during that stretch, but his goals allowed average of 2.08 and save percentage of .938 are awesome numbers, and if you go look at his game log here on DraftKings, been putting up some really solid points there too. And then I got Shesty there of the New York Rangers, and I'm not gonna lie, and I'm sure most of you have known this, Shesty has been a little bit hit and miss this year, but we know the upside is there with this goaltender. I mean, he won the Vezina just last year, put up ridiculous numbers all year long, and he's been playing well here as of late with a 7-2-1 record, goals allowed average of 2.08, and a save percentage of .928, and he's just one of those goaltenders that can steal a game, 35 plus saves in a game, and get you 30 plus DraftKings points. And as always, gonna wrap up this spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is JG Pageau of the New York Islanders. Plays on the third line, but plays up on the #1 power play. Has 8 goals, 13 assists, 21 points through 38 games this year, with 7 of those points coming on the power play, so about 33% of his point production right now. Again, great matchup here against Vancouver, who have the worst penalty kill in the NHL. You could do a little mini stack there with him and Noah Dobson if you wanted to. Next, I got Ivan Barbashev of the St. Louis Blues. Plays on the second line, plays up on the #1 power play. He is truly a boom-bust type of player, but at $2,800, he's someone who's got 15 plus DraftKings point upside or 5x value, and the Leafs haven't necessarily been great defensively as of late, and their penalty kill hasn't been awesome either. And then Eeli Tolvanen there of the Seattle Kraken, plays on the third line and playing up on the #1 power play. Had himself a good game in his debut with the Kraken with 1 goal, 2 shots on net, 3 block shots. Only played about 12.5 minutes, but we hope that increases going forward. And he scored 18.5 DraftKings points. Not bad at all for a guy priced here at $2,700. And then to wrap up this video here, going to talk a little prize picks with you guys. We love the massive slates, the 8 to 12 game slates, and we got one of those here tonight with 11. Just went through the picks here initially. 2 that stick out to me are William Nylander, the Toronto Maple Leafs, over 3.5. Gustav Nyquist of the Columbus Blue Jackets over 1.5. But you guys know the deal. I'm going to go through these individually, do my research, and then let you know my final picks in a comment below on this video, and I'll be sure to pin that comment as well. And don't forget, I am posting those in my Discord too. If you want to join that channel, there's a link to do so in the description below. Now, for those of you who have not signed up for Prize Picks yet, but want to get in on this action, I got a promo code that you should definitely take advantage of. When you're signing up, use my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF, and Prize Picks will give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. Now, you do not have to put $100 in. If you want to put in 50, they'll match 50. You want to put in 20, they'll match 20. Hell, you got $5 laying around. You want to put that in your Prize Picks account, they'll match that $5 in anything up to $100. Again, as long as you're using my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, upon signing up. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 11-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.